for years. I saw this Friday, before I get to Peter King. Give me 2 minutes on this. 40-year-old Elwood Bunky Bartlett, a Wicca teacher and practicing male witch in Maryland, won the Mega Millions jackpot. Bunky says he made a bargain with the multiple gods associated with this Wiccan belief. If you let me win the lottery, I'll teach full-time. He and his wife, Denise, bought the winning ticket at a liquor store, that's great for a teacher, on their way to a mystical voyage, a New Age bookstore in Maryland. That's where he teaches Wicca and Reiki, both forms of spiritual healing. Apparently there are multiple gods with Wicca, and they're the embodiments of the life force. That's part of every piece of nature. There's one main power called the All, which is the universe. Essentially, it draws from the traditions of witchcraft. His name is Elwood Bunky Bartlett. If you go to Google and punch up his name, he looks like a bunkie, and he also looks like somebody who would be into witchcraft. Guy's a freak. And people always say, Colin, I hate stereotypes. Don't deal in stereotypes. But here's why people deal in stereotypes. They're largely true. That's how they become stereotypes. Yesterday, I'm at Toys R Us buying my son a couple of toys. There are two guys looking at action figures in their mid-30s at Toys R Us. And I'm listening to them. These guys wearing Spider-Man shirts, mid-30s at Toys R Us. There's no kids around them. They're buying the action figures for themselves. So they're either comic book geeks or predators, both equally dangerous in their own realm. So I'm listening to these guys in their Spider-Man shirts, mid-30s, beards, playing with these action figures at Toys R Us. And they're debating how realistic the action figures were. Oh, look, everybody knows Luke wears his badge of Phasar on his right chest. It's clearly shown in episode 231, scene 6. Oh, look. Then they got into what accessories the action figures came with. I wouldn't even consider buying this without a photon gun, dude. Oh, look, sweet. This one comes with a time continuum chamber. Two guys in their 30s at Toys R Us. Now, I know a lot of you Star Wars geeks are listening to me driving to work this morning thinking there's no such thing as a time continuum chamber. Just play along, kids. I didn't take notes. So, nerd and nerdier, mid-30s, wearing Spider-Man t-shirts, couldn't have fit the stereotype of comic book nerd any more closely. If I told somebody listening to my show who was an artist, draw two comic book nerds, you couldn't draw a picture that was any more closely associated with what I saw. And do you know why? Because stereotypes are largely true. Kickers in football are flakes. Pro wrestlers mostly are steroid freaks. NBA players early in their careers are obsessed with bling. How did the stereotype start? Well, it starts because there's so many examples of a certain behavior or look. You know, there's a certain stereotype about athletes. Meathead, selfish, money obsessed, bling obsessed. There's a lot of examples of that. But I saw firsthand two comic book nerds yesterday, mid-30s, rummaging through a Toys R Us for themselves. And if you told me to draw a picture before I saw them of nerds, that's what they'd look like.
Nerd alert!